All right. Hey, so today we're going to get into programming with artificial intelligence and how to build prototypes with Gen AI. And just created a little agenda for us. The goal of today is to take a look at actually building some prototypes. So we're going to compare two tools that I've found to be really great for this. And we're going to build a simple web app. So this is our first one, and we're going to use Cursor and Windsurf. So this is the quick agenda. As I just said, we're going to use Cursor and Windsurf. I'm going to talk you through the process I use for building using these prototyping tools, which includes writing the simple requirements, revising those requirements with GenAI, create a prompting plan, which helps actually kind of like get through the steps as you go. You'll also see like it's pretty unpredictable. I'll have to like use my brain as we use this. It is a force lever. It is not like a do all, end all, be all, everything for everyone. And we're going to try to time box it to like roughly 25 minutes for each tool. That way we give each one a fair shot to be competitive. And then we're going to compare the results together. So yeah, stick with me until the end or just fast forward to the end and take a look at the results. But hey, I'd love your thoughts and feedback if you've taken a look at this video. Thank you. So the tools we're going to use today, as I just said, are Cursor and Windsurf, and I've downloaded both of them, and they are neck and neck on pricing. So, if you're just kind of scanning for things to look at, you're going to say to yourself, gosh, which one is the right one to use? And the only way to really make a choice is to try them both. And I think they're probably going to rapidly evolve over the next couple of weeks and months. And they're probably going to be tools you're going to want to switch back and forth because they each have their strengths and weaknesses. But today we're going to focus on building little web apps. So, the GenAI prototyping process, what I've been doing is writing requirements, and I break those requirements into three kind of expectations, right? Like there's the context with which I want to build something. There's then the technical requirements, like how I want it built, like what programming languages. Maybe there's a persistence layer. Maybe there's a particular framework I want to use, TypeScript, JavaScript, something like that, or like Python. Like if you just ask them to do things on their own, different tools will just default to different languages, right? So you have to tell it what you want to do. And then I also try to specify visual requirements. So if you leave them to their own decisions, they might default to something like Shad CN or Tailwind or something like that. Pick your poison, but make sure to specify the visual framework. I mean, I've had one generate like MUI stuff before, and that's just not what I would normally choose to build in. So yeah, then I take that and like refine it through an LLM. We're gonna try that today and see if we get a reasonable kind of prompt and execution plan. But that's just to help kind of expand and refine your requirements as you wrote them to make them like really good for an LLM to consume. And then we're going to ask the LLM for a plan of execution, and then we're going to start executing a plan. So we're going to get right into that pretty quickly. But I'm going to explain to you the problem I want to solve first. And let me just move my camera a little bit out of the way, or not. So yeah, so I am a lifter and I use the 5-3-1 weightlifting plan, which is really a matter of taking a cycle every 4 weeks, and it computes a certain amount of lifting based off your 1 rep max. And then there's also like this definition of like an elite level lifter, and that is defined as 1 rep max at your body weight for overhead press, 1.5 times your body weight for bench, 2x your body weight for squat, and 2.5x your body weight for deadlift. So let's make sure we give it that. So we're kind of just going to paste this context into the LLM when we're planning, and then say, given these inputs, give me a simple UI to plan for elite level fitness and predict when I'll hit there safely. Um, so that's the kind of contextual high level requirement. I don't want to spend a whole bunch of time, defining more because I want to compare the tools on like somewhat ambiguous and vague input. And then the technical requirements, I want to make sure it's easy to use and it's mobile focused. And then I also want to make sure that it's like 100% local storage. I want to maximize like browser capabilities, and I also want to have a nice simple demo for all of us. So we're going to use Tailwind for our visual components, React for JavaScript framework, and TypeScript. And then visual requirements. I'm a dark mode guy, but like let's make sure we can dark mode and light mode everything. I like black and green. I like the matrix. I love 80s style text. And then like, hey, channel the matrix and Stranger Things for look and feel. So we'll see, hey, what we get. Like that might be another dimension we can compare. So let's jump over to ChatGPT and start that prompting, right? So here we go. Gonna get that guy up. And I've kind of staged this here so we can take a look at this together. Let me just kind of move my notes around really quick to make sure that we're getting a good monitor view of this. So I'm just going to take the context that we just talked about, paste it in, and say something like, I am building a mobile application, and here are my requirements. Help me create a one-shot prompt for Cursor and Windsurf so that I can get the best application possible in as few prompts. All right. I'm going to set a timer to make sure we don't go too long on this. And that's my context. And then I'm going to say, actually, there we go. And then I'll blow this up a little bit. Let's see. It's not letting me blow it up, but y'all will be able to read that in a minute. So that's our that. And then we're going to take our technical requirements. And I've been typically doing this on like a requirements markdown file. And I'm still kind of refining how I do this, but this seems to be like a pretty good way to go. Please rewrite this for me so that I can provide it to my editor and have it help me write my application. All right, this should be, please make the output valid markdown. All right, let's see what we get. So far, so good. We're getting good context, good kind of like listing of what we're looking for. It clearly understood, my definition of elite level fitness. Not my definition, but it's like a definition. And got like the technical requirements down, some features, some constraints. So I'm good with this. Let's see what we get. So I'm just going to copy this guy and I'm going to paste it into my requirements file here for Windstream. So I have a Windstream editor kind of set up here. And then I should have a cursor one set up too to make it fair. And great. So that took about 2.5 minutes. And I'm just going to cancel that timer now. And I'm going to start first by just one-shotting, limiting 5 minutes for each one of these guys. So we're going to start with cursor, okay? And the way this works is you just come over here to cursor and just say, given the requirements I have provided, can you help me get my project started? I'm going to provide that same prompt to both of these guys. I'm going to go ahead and just paste it over here for Cascade, which is the equivalent here. And what you can see is it's starting already inside of Composer to generate my application. And we're one-shotting this, right? So like we're not giving it any additional feedback aside from our requirements. And okay, so it's done. That was pretty quick. We're gonna click accept and just kind of see. Like I just want to trust what it did. But if you do notice, it did start to like lay out a reasonable Structure, it chose Vite for kind of the environment management system. So, what should I do to preview this application as you have it? Hopefully, it'll give me some next steps. Usually, they give you like a terminal command or something to run. Yep, cool. Okay, so it's already kind of giving me a little bit of stuff I have to use my brain on. So let's give it that. Uh, let's come back here. So it's doing this. It created the weightlift planner template React JS npm install. So I guess I could have said that. Well, I'll follow its instructions. I've been using p npm these days, but um, where are we and what do we have? So we're here. Great. So we can just do npm install. Well, that didn't work. No package JSON. Interesting. Let's just follow the. Okay. Let's be kind of stupid about it, right? Um, I'm asking it what the immediate next thing I should do is. All right, it wants me to do this guy. So I can just run it directly from here. So I'm going to do that. Great. And then I'm going to run dev. Like, I hope that that works. Missing script. And then what you can do here is add to composer, and it'll just try to start helping you debug this. And depending on, please tell me what to do next. I'm just trying to play a little bit dumb here to test the tool, because you never know like what somebody's like level of experience is with any of this stuff, right? And you want the tool to make it really easy to approach programming and like level up your understanding. Now, I will say, I mean, kind of a negative, I understand what's going on and what it's adding. It's adding some scripts to help me, start the application, which I would have expected V to do for me. Um, and look, we've already got like a command not found. I'm just going to keep adding to Composer. Um, so it's probably going to tell me to npm install something. Yep. And there we go. All right, our timer's almost up and we don't have something running yet, but that's okay. Let's see if we get there. Oh, so close, so close. Let's add that to Composer. It's missing a Vite React plugin, so our timer's up. I'm probably gonna see if we can give it 5 more minutes just to see if we can get it up and running, and we'll credit a total of 10 minutes away from this guy. Did I not run that? Oh, I bet I didn't. Let's try that one more time. Ooh. Let's sudo that. So what is sudo? Sudo is running a command with elevated privileges. Great. Cool. So we got that package installed, and look, we got our app up and running. So let's bring in a browser window and get it up and running. Yowza, what do we got here? 404. What's up with that? I'd like to open up my dev tools and see what's going on here. It's kind of surprising, actually. Is that correct? 127, 5173. Yikes. Well, uh, so something's going on. This could be something up with my computer. So let's kind of see what comes up here. Oh, look, there was no index file. It's almost like we didn't properly instantiate this application. Um, all right, we're getting somewhere now. Um, and that somewhere is that we loaded the application and got some errors. Okay, so what I've been doing is, if possible, um, seeing if I have helpful stuff inside of here. So sometimes you'll see the problems like here, and you can start to fix these things. So there's a couple of problems here, but this is not what we're going to deal with first. And we're going to switch to, you got to get used to these tools. There it is, terminal. And I want this output in my editor here. So I'm just going to add that to the composer. You know, you can always, yeah, it's struggling, right? So we're a good 9 minutes in right now in the build, and we kind of still don't have something running. So let's just keep installing things. Now, still, I mean, like in the reality, let's see, what did it just say? Error could not determine executable to run on the NPX tailwind. Let's do this one thing at a time. That ran, and then it's trying to run this. Try to be nice, but you know. All right, great. So another 5 minutes has passed. All right. And let's just make sure that we have this done. This is why I've been not using this is why I've not been using npm, because you just kind of get some weird root issues, and it's giving me a way to permanently fix the problem, which I might do in a second, actually. Um, but I probably should have just added that to. Ooh, cool. So we're making progress. npm run dev. Let's see if we get this guy up and running. Hey, okay. We got something happening. Uh not much here. Um can you please revisit my requirements and provide a way to capture the initial input for 5 by 3 by 1? And also, let's not overdo it. Let's just see if we can capture the initial requirements. So we're over halfway through our allocated time for this guy, and it clearly didn't get me what I wanted on a one-shot prompt, which I'm fine with. I've kind of noticed that this was a relatively simple program that I was trying to get it to build for me, and you know, I think we need to be relatively realistic on like how good we think things can do on a one shot. So we're still up and running with a basic web application, and it looks like it's going to start adding my like initial capture stuff here. Great. Okay. Doesn't look great. So why don't we say this form appears to look a bit, I'll say janky. Can we please use Tailwind and style it to look better on a mobile application size window? Now, what I'm going to do while it's doing that is just change it so that we're kind of using a mobile application window. Cool. So we're using like an iPhone 12. Let's do a 14 max just to give ourselves a fighting chance. And I'll just minimize that. I guess while it's doing this, I'll admit that I weigh 220 pounds or so. I've been lifting for about 13 years. And then my one rep max on squat, I'm going to be 405. My bench, I'll say 285. My overhead press is weak. And my deadlift is like 465. And generate workout plan. Okay, so that doesn't really do anything yet. And we're going to just take the next round of changes that it made. All right. I can already say I'm going to get tired of typing this stuff every single time. So body weight, I'm going to say, can we make it so that when I provide entries to the form, it immediately saves them to local storage, and also when I refresh this screen, it loads them from local storage. Because yeah, this is gonna get old answering these questions, so let's let it save this information. It's doing the standard React stuff, creating a form data field. Surprised that it doesn't like type it better. Like, I don't know. It just called it form data. And we're gonna enter my weight this time. I'm 220. Let's be nice. All right. Years of experience. What did I say? 15. Squat. I am 405. Bench 285. Overhead press 135. Deadlift 465. All right. And I think that we've now officially had this is our fourth 5-minute block interval. All right. So what I just told it to do was reload the data. What we could do is verify that it saved it to application. That should be here. And we don't see anything in local storage, do we? Here we do. Yeah. And it saved kind of a JSON value 5.3 workout data. Cool. So it did. That's good, right? Who knows what that auth token is? Let's reload that guy. Cool. So reloads the values. That's nice. I'm not going to have to type that every time. Can you generate my 5x3x1 plan based on the requirements I provided and what you know that means in terms of well-known workout plans. I'd expect to see a weekly view. Cool. Ooh, struggling. What are we doing now? Had a little breakdown. That doesn't happen very often. Um, so I'm not quite sure what just happened there, but so it did just come up with the right thing. So like this is a weightlifting plan that's based off of effectively uh, kind of like stepping down 5 reps in the first week, 3 reps in the next week, 1 rep max in the following, and then like a deload week in the fourth week. And it did seem to kind of get that matrix right. And it's based on percentages, and I can't remember the percentages. I think your like deload week is 65% of your 1 rep max, and your like 5 week is something like maxing out at 75%. Yeah, see week 1, 65, 75, 85%, 5 reps, last set 5+, which means 5 until you can't do anymore. And then week 2, 70%, 80%, 90%, 3 reps, and then 3 until you can't do anymore. And the last one is 75, 85, 95, 5, 3, and then 1 until you can't do anymore. Usually you fail on the 1. Or, the 1.5 rep. Great. So please add a week 4 deload week as well. All right. And I'm going to hit refresh while it's working. Generated the plan. Form submitted. I guess I'm going to have to tell it to show me the plan after I hit generate. I'm asking it to navigate to a page to show me the plan because, I'd kind of like to see what the results are and not have to look at like what I inputted. We might think about showing like a view only version of the input up at the top or something like that. Coming down to the wire here on the next 4-minute or 5-minute block. All right, I'm taking the changes. Let's see what we got here. Okay, so here we go. And it's okay. So look, I said I didn't really want to like see the form. It did a good job of presenting information back to me. Shows me the 1 week, week 1. That's pretty cool. I like the layout. I asked for like 80s style layout. That's cool. Week 2, week 3. All right, we're already in the place of like replacing my whiteboard here, which is pretty cool. And it looks like we have 5 more minutes left to wrap this guy up. But we have accomplished the functionality that I was looking for. The stretch goal would be showing me like how many cycles do I have to go through to reach my target elite level fitness. So let's say this is great. Show me on the, what is this? The cycle on, show me on the cycle page what percent of the way I am completed in terms of reaching my elite level fitness lifter status based on my current body weight and lifting amounts. Display it beside my current 1 rep maxes. Okay, so what I'm asking is to, like, for 365, what is the squat version? I think it's 2 times body weight, so I should be squatting like much more than that. And it's funny, did I say 365 for squat? I thought I said 405. Interesting. Squat 405. Oh, okay. Interesting. Hey, look, another issue with Anthropic. They must be struggling today. That's an outlier. I'm not going to discredit them for that one because they tend to be pretty on top of it. And I'm not paying attention to the news right now. So who knows? Maybe they're going through some stuff. All this deep seek business. Just a note, I'm using Claude Sonnet down here. You can choose the LLM behind these guys, and on that DeepSeek comment, like, I think you could probably get to a point where you're using DeepSeek as your LLM provider. I think for fairness, I just want to evaluate tool quality, not LLM output quality. They both use the same LLM by default. And we'll talk about that in a minute when we get to kind of the fairness of judging them. So here we go, entering this, and it just created a whole bunch of extra information. We probably want it to do a better job of presenting this, but training max is 365, 92% of elite, current 405. That's pretty cool. I'll just let it continue to be kind of raw here for now. It definitely didn't accomplish my like use of tailwind very well. Like, I think it overdid it on the 80s thing, but let's see what the other one does, right? I'm not gonna change it. I'm gonna make it apples to apples comparison here. So I'm pretty happy with this. We're coming down to the wire. I got about a minute left. Let's see if we can get it to do one more thing. Can you make another page that shows me the expected date of completion when I will reach elite level fitness for each of the lifts? Base this on safe increases each cycle based on well-known research. I don't know what the well-known research is. I'm asking it to like be a domain expert too, which is pretty cool, but let's see what it comes up with. I assume that LLM knows more about like the basics of fitness than I do. It's probably making some pretty reasonable goals. What do I know? I guess the next thing I would probably want to do, aside from just making a plan, would be letting me log some of this stuff and save it. But for now, this is a good start. And I'm not going to compare deployment of these two things. I might do that in like another video. We'll just build on top of this. But it is pretty easy to get these things deployed, and I'll explore that separately. Cool. So that's there. And give it one more look, and we're down to the wire here. We're going to view the timeline. Current timeline. It's looking like, so the timer's up. Squat. It's expecting my target to be August of 2025 when I'll hit my elite goal. Hey. Oh, that's the squat. Got it. Bench. I was about to say, hey, I'm already there. Bench 20. Okay, it's going to be a while for that one. Holy crap. Overhead press. It's going to be a really long time. 2029 and June 2026. So, these projections are based on the consistent training and proper recovery. Hey, look, I think it's pretty cool. I learned something today. So now let's switch gears and compare this to the other tools. So let's be fair, kind of shut this down, make sure this goes away. Oh, it's still showing up. I'm going to close that. And close cursor really quick. And great. So we're here. I'm going to now set another timer for 5 minutes. Let's shake off like all the stuff we just remembered from the last one and give this a shot. So here we go. So I've definitely experienced pretty significant differences between Cursor and Windsurf, but I let's see what everybody else thinks now that we're kind of comparing these two things. So it's running the terminal command, it's creating the app. Um, Something a little weird here is it's creating the app inside the directory that I'm in, which is fine. Like I think kind of the setup steps are always a little weird. Um, most people would want their like source directory at the top. I think the other one was kind of trying to get me to do that as well, but oh, look, it's asking me for some input here, and there's this little like go to terminal button, and this happens a lot with um, with these. Oh, let's take a look. So it's immediately noticing that it had a problem. So it got an error and it's saying, okay, let me fix it. And notice here, it had the same error as the other one, but it's like, hey, let me fix that for you. Boom. Now it is asking me for a password. Cool. And it's going to try to keep going here. It's going to create the terminal command here. Um, yeah, I'm in. Again, trying to adhere to a accept the one shot. Yep, I want to do that too. It's installing some icons for me. I gave it no additional um, feedback in terms of the uh, user experience versus the other one. And we're still in our first 5 minute window. Um, okay, and we got another error. So this is pretty common. Like I seem to find that I get a lot of errors when I'm using these tools. Uh, could not determine executable. Where are we? We're inside here. And hey, it's still cranking with us, trying to help us like fix things. Um, oh man, see, and it's like I'm having issues with the command line. It feels bad. Um, it didn't create so. Kind of a cool thing here is like when it makes a mistake, it doesn't charge you all the time. Sometimes it does. Um, Now it's finally creating the app, um, which is good. But notice, like I think it's, clear difference here. Like Cursor definitely required me early on to immediately start using my brain, um, which is fine. Like I enjoy programming, but I think a lot of folks kind of want it to help them scaffold an app. And like we're kind of comparing the status quo of, hey, what if I would have just used like Vite to initialize my app or, create React app or whatever. I think it used create React app, right? Which is kind of odd. Like that's yeah, isn't that kind of not used anymore? Anyway, I probably should have told it to use Vite, but in all fairness, I didn't tell the other tool, so I don't want to do that. The other tool made that decision correct right out of the gate. Now, notice what this one's doing. It's creating an app, it's creating some types, it's creating some calculations, it's storage. It's starting to actually like structure an app that seems a little more logical. I think Cursor went like pretty simple. Just a comparison of something to notice as we look at what each tool did. This does a good job of summarizing too, and not just dumping, like spamming your screen full of stuff. I mean, it does kind of entice you to review what it's doing, and it's you can see it's doing a lot here. But just notice it's generated the Tailwind and TSConf. It's done a lot of the stuff that we had to coerce Cursor to do. Um, all right, it's adding a README file. And we're still not at a point where it's running anything yet, but We wanted to see the one shot. This is close to one shot, right? So suggested background terminal command. Okay. And look, we're up and running. So in the first, that was the 5-minute timer. It claims we're going to be up and running. Let's see what we get here. And then let's also review a little bit about what it did. So, look, all right, we're going to switch gears to the mobile application just to be kind of comparing fairly. All right, kind of similar feedback on the initial UI. It's like shocking to see how similar they are, actually. I think the font the other one chose was actually a little cooler. It's almost like it's not loading styles, and I'm not quite sure what's going on there. We might want to revisit that on both of these guys, but oh, look. Let's see how easy they make it to, yeah, I was kind of hoping it would just add that to the terminal, but let's see if I can do that from the prompt window. Send to cascade and send to cascade. I just like send the problems and I don't even provide a prompt here. Let's see. And it determined I wanted to fix them, knows their problems. Let's let it do that really quick. And cool. Kind of odd that it wanted me to do that again. I thought it was already running, but let's go to the terminal. It's already in use. That's right. Let's close this guy. Close this guy and restart it. All right, we've confused it. I've confused myself. I'm just gonna run npm run dev. Bam. Okay. And let's tell it to fix this. I'd like to see what that's gonna do. I'm gonna keep all these changes. And here again, like we could be reviewing this code. A reasonably smart developer would be doing that, but I just want to push the tool to see where it can get us as a prototyping tool, because a lot of my friends are interested in trying this sort of thing for their startups. And cool, great, up and running. All right, so better with the font now. Like I was like, oh, come on, where's my pixelated 80s font? Both of them interpreted that. So my body weight, we're going to go same, years lifting, 10. I don't want to cheat. I want to see what it came up with first. It may store this. Let's figure it out. 405 squat, 185 bench, overhead press, 135 deadlift, 465, and track towards elite level fitness. All right. So it's elite. Major difference. It is immediately generating a plan, which is pretty cool. And look, it's showing my elite goals progress, which was something I did in like the um, fourth version of this. Now, the only kind of question I am using Sonnet, like, is it remembering something? Like, did it know that someone just did this and it's a little smarter the second time? Hard to know because it got the deload week right. And I didn't tell it any of this stuff, but it did a fantastic job. So, I guess the only interesting thing would be to run the same experiment backwards, where you do Windsurf first and Cursor second, and use the same LLM, and then check to see did the LLM have any amount of memory whatsoever. All right, so generated the training plan. Let's hit refresh and see, did it say? Oh my gosh, it even saved my settings. And I think let's work on styling a little bit. I appreciate the 80s vibe. However, I'd like to see the UI look a bit more crisp. Can you try to add some margin / padding? um, around the edges and align things better. Please also give us a new page for the plan showing the current week. Actually, showing the 4-week plan with tabs for each week or buttons. Kind of letting it make a choice. I don't care. I just kind of want to see if I can work towards the same thing. And this is where I'm checking the bias, right? Like, am I biased to try to generate the same exact UI I had earlier, or do I want to see something different, right? Um, all right, we're almost done now with our third 5-minute period, and I forgot to hit the timer on the second one, but I'm pretty sure that I'm cutting Windsurf short because it's so far ahead of Cursor right now. And I hate to like be biased here, but I feel like Windsurf is just blowing Cursor out of the water here. Gosh, what a waste of real estate. These huge icons are really wasting a lot of real estate. Okay, it's still working. So let me give it a fair shot to see what it came up with. But gosh, what a waste, right? Um, oh my lord. I think it just broke itself. These things happen sometimes. You're like, what are you doing? Okay, it is cool that it added icons. So let's help it fix some of this stuff. It's probably gonna find the icon errors this go around. So I think we still have about 10 minutes left. Yeah. And we're coming down to the last minute of this next timer. So we have 2 more 5-minute timers. Cool. It's coming up with training plan. And I know it's kind of weird, right? Like we're watching this thing generate. And I'll try to speed some of this stuff up so everybody doesn't have to kind of watch all the intermediate stuff here. And the 5 minutes just ended. I'm gonna hit 5 minutes one more time. Um, but even if you had to do this for prototyping purposes, if you're trying to like user test or something like that, this is incredible, right? Like, um, okay. Now, I don't know what in the world it's doing, but I'm going to give it a screenshot because I think it doesn't understand how bad it just made these icons. Um, both tools support screenshots, and I definitely, you have to realize like it can't see what you see. It thinks it can, but it's not like executing the code. So sometimes I've found that just pasting a screenshot of what it's getting is like helping it realize like how far off it is. So for visual stuff, picture's worth 1,000 words, and that's true for LLMs too, right? Like just pasted a picture, and it's really good at frequently finding and understanding some of your visual feedback. Now it's interesting. I was impressed at how far we got, how quickly, but the visuals right here on Windsurf are kind of throwing me off a little bit. Like the other one was more easily usable quickly. And it generated a plan, but these icons are just very, very distracting. It did get the plan right. Current goal, elite fitness, you know, kinda. It's showing me the progress, but it's like, okay, it is showing me information. It's kind of hard to read. Like, I feel like we could do a better job of um, giving me this. And it's like, wait, what is it telling me to do? It's saying week 1, like which lift, right? It's telling set 1 working set, 5 reps at 65. It didn't give me a weight, which is funny. Um, That's actually broken. So we're gonna have to tell it to fix that. So you can get you can take this and generate your training plan, but it's like, okay, I'm gonna have to tell it to fix that. So let's hit refresh here and see if it. Gosh, it's still. I mean, what is this stupid thing? Um. So okay, tighter vertical space. So we wasted a lot of time on that apparently. Um. I have no idea what it thinks it's doing. Let's just see if we switch to a desktop. Does it like look better? No, it just looks ridiculous all the time. So, way to go, Windsurf. Uh, let's focus on functionality first. It seems you aren't computing my weights based on my input, just showing me weeks and percentages. Can you show me the specific weights I should use for each lift on each week? All right. That's a pretty big miss, actually. Glad I noticed it, but anybody that's doing usability testing would have never accepted this app. But that's a major functional requirement miss on behalf of this guy. Now, it also one-shotted so much that I didn't like look at each step along the way. So I guess that's kind of a positive of Cursor. It moved me a little slower, so it caused me to think as I went. This just did so much in one shot that it was kind of hard to even notice until now, right? So it's almost like Cursor just caught back up to Windsurf because Windsurf went too fast, too quickly. Still going, causing errors. I'm looking at the like error screen over here on my debugger on another screen, and it's showing me plenty of errors because it's hot reloading stuff. Um, let's see. Let's see if the errors go away. I see them here too, so kind of makes me wonder, is it even going to load? I really hate this stupid icon. All right, Windsurf, you've got 5 more minutes. All right, so it did get the squat, bench, deadlift, and it showed me the amounts. I think what's funny is like I don't really do all these lifts on the same day. It would be nice if it would use some of the screen real estate. Trying to ask it to like put it into columns or something. I don't really feel like I need to scroll, but I don't squat on the same day as I bench and but it's funny I don't know that it got it right. Like I asked for columns, what did it do? Who knows what it did? Did that just clear? No. Really annoying and distracting. Can you please make them more useful or remove them? Yeah, it would just like if it's not going to be useful, don't put it there. So this is an example of where it's trying to do something smart for you, and it had great intentions, but boy, it really wasted a lot of screen real estate and didn't add any value whatsoever. And now it's just burning time, right? So like it doesn't know it's racing. I probably should have told them both they were in a competition. All right, I gotta close that. Got a meeting coming up. We're down to the wire here. All right, so this is a lot better, right? Because we can do this. We can change to light mode or dark mode, but didn't do anything. Um, view plan. is still kind of surprising that it didn't interpret the columns. So I'm just giving it a screenshot of the page because I'm worried that I'm wasn't specific enough with the writing, right? So I'm telling it the page, asking it to like give me some sort of navigation component and go from there. And this will be the end. I think we'll be down to the wire here and we'll call it for 25 minutes. So after this ends, I'm going to cut and then set up to do a comparison. And then we'll circle back and look at some things and see which tool was the best. So I hope this was helpful to watch, kind of like using two different tools to do this. And I hope it encourages you to go try them. They're really amazing. Both are really amazing, both neck and neck, both have their benefits. And yeah, I will definitely say right now, I am using Windsurf more than I'm using Cursor. But you know, I think I switch back and forth sometimes just to see which one's doing what better. So, all right, here it is, down to the wire. Last feature. Let's click on squat. Back, okay. Bench. All it's really seeming to do is navigate me, which is fine. I wanted simple. This is simple. But that's it. We're down to the wire. And that's the end of the road for Windsurf. And I'll see you in the summary briefly. All right, friends. Now that we've finished kind of time boxing 25 minutes worth of focus on each tool, give or take, you know, a minute or so, we're going to compare the results at the end. I hope you enjoyed taking a look at the differences that we've been able to make. But yeah, so we're going to compare. And let's just zoom back out here. And without further ado, we're going to just jot down a couple of pros and cons. All right. So I would say, you know, pros of Cursor were that, uh, you know, equally across both, I was able to get up and running pretty quickly. But I think that Cursor was able to generate a more stylistic, finished product. And I think that's probably because it made me move slower, right? Like it didn't speed me up so fast that I didn't know what was going on. And the pros of Windsurf is that it did uh, set up the project more flawlessly right out of the gate. However, if you don't know what you're doing, that might be a problem. And then let's see what else. I guess in this example, I was able to kind of get up and running with fewer prompts faster. Now, all right. So just two pros for each, and then two cons. So I think the con of Cursor was that the slowness of having to prompt means you might have to know more about programming to move faster. And I say that I've been a software engineer since I was like 13, you know, years old. I've been writing code since I was 13. I guess I became a software engineer. I got my first job doing it, but I've been doing it a long time. And I think if you're new to this, you might miss out on some things with kind of either of these tools, but Cursor might get confusing. Other things, I guess, are that you know, I guess it's really up to opinion. I don't want to state anything that's opinionated, but I am less excited about Cursor's modifications to VS Code than I am about Windsurf's. But um, the YOLO nature of setting things up landed the app with a pretty significant miss on functionality. So let's look at that actually. So, um, you know, I think the interesting thing is I went into this thinking Windsurf's clearly going to take it away. And if we just kind of look at this, I don't think that's the case here. So just to make sure I have the right thing in the right place, I'm running Windsurf, let me just verify. When I open Windsurf, it's running on port 5173, so it's on the left. And when I'm running Cursor, the Node app in Cursor, it's running on 5174, and it is on the right. Now, I didn't do anything different here, but it did load the CSS style sheet when I ran things. So let's just kind of enter my body weight again here and just make sure it stayed working. I'll say I've been listening for 10. I'm going to say my squat is 405, my bench is 225, my overhead press 135, and my deadlift 465. And we're going to track elite level, whatever. I don't even know what that button would do, but okay. And it clearly got my last requested feature in there. We just didn't like look at it. So this is pretty cool. Like it's showing me that my progress towards all of these things is this percent, what my training max is. Um, it's going to show me my timeline, right? Like when I should hit these things. We could probably add some cool things here to kind of like graphically track that. And then week 1, you can see what I'm supposed to do week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. So I am like super happy with the end result of 25 minutes worth of work with Cursor. And again, wasn't going into this thinking that was going to be the outcome here. I really thought that Windsurf was going to take it away. It's worth noting also, it got dark mode and light mode. So, um, yeah, and then I think we should probably just like verify if we were to look at this thing in mobile mode too. It's a little bit weirder in mobile mode, but that's cool. Like I think I'm pretty happy with where this ended out, and yeah, we'll go from here. So let's look back over here at this one, and let's start in. Let's make sure we look at it without debug mode on so that we're looking at it in mobile mode. So just I never gave it any like either one of them, told either one of them to do a desktop focus thing, but the one on the right, Windsurf, definitely didn't do a good job. The one on the left is Windsurf, and it didn't do a good job of creating kind of a web friendly version of this. And, it didn't get light and dark mode working. And it kind of has this kind of like, I don't know, non-working navigation here. It's just showing like it's just updating this. It's not giving any sort of indicator that we've changed. um Overall, I mean, it's just, I think anybody would look at this and say that Windsurf did not come out the clear winner. Now, if we go back and review and I'm 5 minutes shy on Windsurf, then maybe they would have been more neck and neck because that last 5 minutes made a huge difference. And yeah, that's roughly it, guys. I mean, I think in this particular case, Cursor came out ahead. And I will say my bias was toward Windsurf because I've been using it a lot more lately. But hey, look, maybe I need to switch back and look at Cursor. So I hope you enjoyed this. Um, I'll definitely appreciate any, likes or comments in my LinkedIn stream or on YouTube where I post this. And hey, look, if you have other things you'd like to see evaluated, this is something I'm really excited about right now. And I think this area of the world is really getting exciting. So please feel free to like, post, comment, give me feedback, and hopefully my little like guides on like where to go watch so that you can do the TLDR and not have to watch the whole thing are helpful. And if you want to see the raw video, I'll post that to YouTube. But I'll put the speed ups in the one here for LinkedIn. All right, y'all. Thank you. Bye.